This place is ripe with symbolism. You're actually in the first Union station in the world. This building was constructed about 30 years after the first one, but we did it first here. And by 1889, 1 million train cars were rolling through the station, second only to Chicago. But why a Union station? 5 independent train companies operated in Indianapolis back in those days, and it was a real hassle. You may end up, half a mile away at one train station and have to walk to get to the next one in order to catch your next train going west. And the folks at that time had the wisdom and foresight to understand that they were actually stronger together. That by unifying their efforts, they added efficiency and better service for the people they served. Kind of sounds like an alliance to me. Indianapolis is still known as the crossroads of America, but today and tomorrow it will become the crossroads of college completion. You were intentionally chosen to be here because we think that you're the brightest minds in this country and the most committed to this cause. So I want to thank you for traveling so far to be with us. Take a look around the room a little bit. I hope you've noticed your flags by now. Our alliance is growing. And I'm absolutely delighted to report that since we last met in San Francisco, we have a new, very significant member, the City University of New York. Let's welcome them. CUNY serves students from over 200 countries in the world and almost 300,000 total in their degree-seeking programs. That is scale, and we are delighted to have them. I had a wonderful experience a few weeks ago of going to the Gutman Community College graduation ceremony in New York, and that was a very, very special thing. Gutman actually is run by an old friend of ours, Scott Evenbeck, who used to be here at Indiana University pre-university, and they're doing remarkable things. They've tripled the graduation rate in comparison to urban community colleges like themselves. And they've done it largely through all the kinds of stuff that we're trying to nudge you guys to do, especially when it comes to adding structure. Now, when I went to that graduation, I had a wonderful experience in meeting a young man at the reception afterward, Ramon Mendez. Ramon graduated on time from Gutman Community College, 2-year degree in 2 years, and then went right away to City College and finished a bachelor's degree on time. And so I said, Ramon, that's a remarkable achievement. Congratulations. So what do you want to do with that poli-sci degree? And he said, well, Mr. Sugar, I want to be involved in building a movement. And I said, I got just the job for you. Why don't you come join us here in Indianapolis and see where we're up to? Ramon, would you stand up, please? Let's all congratulate Ramon and his great achievement. That graduation ceremony was filled with Ramones. Students of color from all walks of life, overcoming the odds because, as Ramon said, he told me, it was the structure that made a difference, Mr. Sugar. The structure. We can do this. We can close achievement gaps. We can make sure that all our young people succeed if we apply these game changers. And CUNY has had a long reputation of innovation and leadership. My goodness. We're so delighted to have them here because they bring their bright minds and ideas, the ASAP program, the Gutman Community College Initiative, and others. And so we're delighted. Welcome again, CUNY. Now, I also want to note that we have some special guests here. We have a team from Iowa that has come, not because they're a part of the Alliance, but because they want to know what we're up to. Now, I know there's some travel issues, so we have some Iowans here and some not, but the rest of them will come tomorrow, and I'm excited about that. But I must ask your forgiveness, Iowa, because every time I think about your state, I think about that wonderful scene in Field of Dreams. When the baseball player comes out of the corn, out of the netherworld, and he asks a question. He says, "Is this heaven?" And Kevin Costner, of course, responds, "It's Iowa." Oh, no, Kevin. We don't have time for catch today. these Iowans are busy, so we'll move on. But I want to welcome Iowa. It's wonderful to have them here, and it would be absolutely heavenly to have you in our alliance. So go home and get that done. Finally, I want to just draw your attention to the stage. I'm sure that some of you walked in here and thought you'd made a wrong turn into a Ted Cruz rally. But you're in the right place, I assure you. Or you may have said to yourself, okay, now Tom Sugar becomes president, and now this is what we're in for? No, that's not all what this is about. I want us to recognize and celebrate our differences. And I want us to celebrate the different places we come from. But today and tomorrow, I want us to be constantly reminded of those things that unite us. We are one nation. We are one people. And we are all in this together. So I ask the question that we'll debate and deliberate these next couple of days. What is the strength of this alliance, of our union here in Union Station? What have we accomplished in these last 8 years since Complete College America was founded? What have we learned? What can we do to be stronger together? How can we achieve a little less conversation and a little more action, please, around this country? In past summers, we would invite you to sort of a sit and get experience, right? You'd come to one of our policy institutes, and we would update you on the latest goings-on, the latest results from our game changer deployments. And that's fine, but that's not what we're going to do this time. CCA is 8 years old this month, and I was there right at the very beginning. I was actually the first hire by a man who had a very audacious idea. Stan Jones imagined a network of states working together, learning and sharing, working on finite strategies that are proven to significantly increase college completion and close achievement gaps. Stan's favorite phrase was, I want it to be concrete specific. I want it to be proven by evidence, because he remembered what it was like as a SHIO here in Indiana. And I said, Stan, let's call it an alliance, because I want folks to get together, share best practices, learn from each other, make each other stronger. And he agreed. When we first started, we thought maybe after 5 years of trying, we might have 3 or 5 states to work with. We actually launched with 21. And many of you are here. Maybe you were there in Nashville, that very, very first convening. We established metrics of progress and success. Working with the National Governors Association, we filled in horrible gaps in the IPEDS database for the first time ever, showing how our part-time students, our remedial students, our older students, our low-income students are doing in this country. And we used that data to convince America that time is the enemy of college completion. During a long drive to Tennessee, just Stan and I convinced him to allow me to name our next report, Remediation, Higher Education's Bridge to Nowhere. That took a little courage, I suppose, on Stan's part, but we did it together because we had some hard truths to share from the data that proved that traditional remediation was an abomination, a horrible failure, holding our students back. And after that, things took off. People got pretty excited about our work, and we were able to assemble a remarkable group of people to help us share these best practices. Tristan Denley, Uri Treisman, Paula Short, Peter Adams, Donna Linderman from CUNY, Larry Abel from Florida State. They traveled the road with us, participated as content experts in our completion academies, and little by little, leading states came forward and said, we'll jump in. We'll take the first bold steps with you. And because they did, we were able to hone what we now call the game changer strategies. But all of this barely scratches the surface of Stan Jones's legacy. When we were in San Francisco in November, he stayed at home because he couldn't travel then, but he proudly watched us on his computer from home. And then he said goodbye to us in February when cancer ended his life too soon. Stan was my dear friend and colleague for 25 years. It's a great honor. It was a great honor to be chosen by him to help complete College America get started. And it's humbling to follow in his footsteps. You might say that Complete College America is at an inflection point now. New leadership and a new troubling era. You guys see the headlines this week? Higher education is in the headlines. I guess so are icebergs the size of Delaware, but it was a shocking thing to see. Maybe never before has this been recorded. But the Pew Research Center released a poll that showed remarkably that higher education has now become a partisan issue. And that is deeply troubling to me. When we started Complete College America 8 years ago, one of the things I loved most about it was it wasn't partisan. The K-12 battle, sure, those have been going on for years. But we were able to assemble this alliance with folks from all sides of the aisle and everything in between and move together in unison because we all understood the valuable connection between higher education achievement and economic success, among other things. But something's happened, and we have to recognize it. And we can have our theories about why it is, but it is clearly troubling that nearly 60% of folks of one political persuasion now believe higher education has a negative effect on our country. Okay, you can have your cynicisms, you can be concerned about student debt, etc., but a negative effect is something that we have to recognize. The good news is that the people hold the national media even lower regard. So we got a choice here on our hands. Number one, we can all stand up and say, thank God for CNN. Or number two, we can get busy. And I know you, and I know what you want to do. And so let's turn to where we're at, what we've accomplished. Because understand this, these sorts of assaults on higher education stick because there's something to stick it to. Okay? You want to win this argument? You've got to push back with results. We've got to show them you can get a better deal, you can get results, you can graduate, you can move on to fulfilling careers and lives through higher education. We've got to improve our numbers. That takes away the argument. And so let's turn for a moment then to review sort of the state of college completion as we've engaged in it over 8 years. Performance funding is breaking out all around the country. Now, that's a difficult one for CCA because it's difficult to influence legislators when they get in the back rooms and decide how they're going to fund higher ed. I'm deeply disappointed in the cuts in public support for public higher education. Public higher education is as close to a common good as you can achieve. Everybody benefits together when more people succeed. We need to invest in higher ed in the same way. And some of these performance funding schemes are designed pretty well. Most of them aren't. And we'll continue to chip away at improving them. Everybody around the country that is in the CCA Alliance is required to provide us data based on our metrics. Over 30 states do every year. That has been extraordinarily helpful to us folks. Thank you. I think for the first time we made sure we had data experts and metrics experts in the room. Thank you all for the hard work you engage in every year to get us that data. That's made reports possible. That's been able to drive the evidence, and we appreciate it. Math pathways are expanding. We are winning the argument. We are getting people to wake up and understand what mathematicians have been telling us for a long time, and that is college algebra isn't for everybody. You know, there's better mathematics alignments to careers and majors, and when we align math that way, students succeed because it seems relevant. Co-requisite support is a huge success for us. 5 states took it to scale in a big way, producing results that were nearly identical. You guys have seen these numbers before. 13 more are doing the same now. We are winning the war on traditional remediation. I say war, but what I mean by that is, we blow a fuse, is that the numbers are the numbers, okay? And we have to get people to see them and understand them and engage in strategies that will address it. But it is very, very difficult now to make an argument on why sequences of non-credit courses are appropriate for anyone. Very, very difficult. 15 to Finish, I have lost track of 15 to Finish. It is blossoming everywhere. We provided a lot of materials to you guys. You're using them. It's exploding. We've lost count. We have lost count. Campuses all over the country are now engaging in a simple notion, which is students need to be told how many credits they need to accomplish every year to graduate on time. Now, folks, I'll give you a little preview. I really want to see everybody doing this because it raises real questions in my mind about how committed you are to college completion if you're not willing to tell students how many credits it takes to graduate on time. But hear me clearly. I am not saying that every student can do it. I'm saying that many, many, many more can, especially when you use the whole year. They want to be told that. They need to be nudged that way. We know they do better when they do it. And so let's engage in a deeper commitment on that score. Guided Pathways is sort of the all-in strategy. You got to do it all and knit it all together with degree maps. And that is building. Lots of people are talking about pathways in the country. That's like the favorite word. But that doesn't mean that we think about it the same way. We want you to build those maps, but we want you to default register the kids on it, the students on it. You know the right pathway, put them on it, monitor their progress, and make sure that they stay on track, but also fulfill your commitment to making sure the courses are there when they need them. So that is a growing body of work. I am so proud of the work we're doing in Houston especially. You'll hear more about that later. Historic work knitting together the Research One institution with all the community colleges across the Houston area. Now 8 institutions participating in Houston GPS. This sort of metro strategy is emerging in this country. Kansas City wants to do it. Tulsa wants to do it. Denver called me. They want to do it because these students are often place-based. They think about going to school in the communities they grow up in, they live in, and we can help knit together degree plans to ensure their success. So that's what we've accomplished in 8 years. And it's a lot, but it's not enough. And along the way, we did confirm some suspicions. We know that time is the enemy. When you guys are thinking about strategies back home, if it adds time to degree, you're going in the wrong direction. I'm not talking about 4-year degrees in 3 years. I'm talking about more 4-year degrees in 4 years and more 2-year degrees in 2 years. Okay? Time is the enemy of college completion. The longer it takes, the more life gets in the way. We confirmed our suspicions about choice. Students are overwhelmed by choices. You hand them a course catalog the size of a phone book and tell them to find their own way forward, they will get lost. They will make mistakes. Right, CUNY? Structure matters. Structure has been confirmed over and over again. This is an essential test to apply to all of your interventions, time, choice, structure. Think about that. Take it home. Take a picture of that screen. That is a great way to think about doing the work. But we've learned some new things too. We learned about the power of momentum. We talked a lot about this in San Francisco. That's the momentum formula, of course. Mass times velocity. Students need more mass, more credit accumulation, more support. They also need added velocity because time is the enemy. And so momentum matters, and there are intentional things we can do in the design of the first year of the degree maps that add momentum. We're doing that at scale all across Houston. Everywhere we do GPS, we're going to be leaning into you now saying, let's add momentum components. And we also came to grips with something that we left behind. This is hard work. The some college, no degree crowd. Stan was hesitant to commit us in this area because it is so hard. But look at the numbers, folks. 27 million Americans with some college, no degree. For us to reach our college attainment goals in your states and around the country, 6 million of these folks have got to complete something of value. Or you're not going to get there, just like closing achievement gaps. And so we are going to engage in some new work as it relates to this particular audience. And so let me turn to that now and get to now the meat of why you're here. You're not here to sit and get. You're here to act and think with us. So, assignment number 1, we're going to add a new game changer. We're going to call it a better deal. Let me unpack that. We used to call that structured schedules. Helping students balance work and school, very, very important strategy, right? If they can, you can block their schedules, right, CUNY? You do that too. Block their schedules. They know with certainty when they're available for work in the afternoon or the mornings. It makes a huge difference. Tennessee had great success with that and still does with their tech centers. But that's not enough to attract back those students with some college no degree. They need a basket of strategies. They need competency-based education. They need prior learning assessments. We have to offer them something that's more affordable, that's faster, that gives them credit for what they know, that honors their knowledge, and accelerates their success into meaningful and relevant, lucrative outcomes. We got to do it. We've got to do it. And so we're going to announce the contents of that new strategy at our annual convening, and I would love to have your advice on it. But we've learned more than that. We've, as a team at CCA, been thinking a lot about these last 8 years. What worked, what didn't, what was the secret sauce between success and failure. And we decided that in this next wave of the work, we need to be clear about what we've learned, how to do it, and what we believe. So when you came in, you noticed on your tables, we have something called the workbook. Never done that before. And it's got a lot of blank pages in it, you'll notice. Over the course of today and tomorrow, we're going to engage you in this. We're going to challenge you to think about what we believe and to see if you believe the same thing. We're going to ask you to think about what you've learned in your own implementations and think about what we're recommending in our scaling standards. Help us get better. That's what this is about. If this is an alliance that we're supporting each other, and that means you're supporting me too, okay? We want to capture your brilliance. Help us get better so that when we come back and help others, we're better at it. So we believe things. When you're trying to build something bigger than ever before, it's important to have a common sense set of beliefs, because beliefs inspire action. We can all come up with kinds of recipe books for implementations, but why do we want to do those things? They have to be derived from something deep within us that we believe and are committed to. That is what's required in this kind of work. So, let's look at the first one. We believe in highly structured implementations. You're going to hear presentations in a few moments that will unpack this with people from around the country, but I will say this, we need for it to be well-designed with real accountability. I keep going back to my friends in Houston, but I can tell you it works so well there and works there. We started with something very, very strong, very clear, with real accountability, and we keep coming back to it every time we get lost. Foundational documents like that matter. We believe in structure design. We believe in equity. We believe in equity. We have to move beyond lip service around disaggregated data, which is very important, but not enough. We want you all to unpack your goals back home and ask hard questions. If we're going to get to 60% or 65% college attainment in fill in the blank, how many more African Americans have to make it? How many more Hispanics have to make it? How many more low-income and first-generation students have to make it? How many more older students have to make it? You got to own it. You got to own it. Your economic success depends on it. We believe in evidence and facts. Hey, well, that's an unusual thing these days. We believe in facts. We love facts. We love data. We appreciate your data, as I said before. We want to get better at this, faster at this. We want to more accurately capture the impact of our implementations and feed that back as quickly as possible to accelerate the change. We're not backing off on metrics, we're doubling down. We believe in policy. Policy, too often, was sort of a nice to have. Even when everything was working, even when the success is proven, for some reason, people just hate to put it in policy. You know? So now we're going to say, you want to work with us? Let's think about policy change on the front end. If we do this together and it works like it has elsewhere, what will we change in policy to bake it into the cake and sustain the change? It won't be a nice to have, it will become a must have. But also this, CCA over the years has gotten a bad rap about driving bad law and bad policy behind the scenes. Like there was some nefarious plot that we were going to get things passed in your state and make you all live with it. That has never been how we operated. But I'll tell you this, we're going to call out bad policy and bad law when we see it now. And I need your help on that. When somebody gets a crazy idea back home that you know is going to harm this work together that we're doing, we are happy to call it out. But that only works if you let me know about it. But I don't want bad policy to hold back our progress and work against us. More often than not, it's a simple misunderstanding. Many of our legislators who are very important in our efforts here, there are many legislators who are part of our CCA Fellows program now and are involved in the Alliance, and we value their input. But we want them to be thoughtful about it. We want their good intention to be driven in the right way. We believe in communications. That shouldn't surprise you. We've been pretty good at our reports. But what I mean by this is communications itself is a scaling strategy. It isn't a nice to have. It isn't just sharing results. It's driving change. How do we become even better at that? How do you become better at that? We're going to hear some great examples from states that will help us think more deeply about it. And then we're going to do something else. We're taking down our website by the end of the year, and we're putting up something I don't think has ever been done before. We're replacing our website with a web platform. I like to call it the eHarmony of college completion. It will be a virtual environment where impatient reformers, like-minded people can get together, share the results in real time quickly. If you're doing co-requisite support in rural Georgia, you'll be able to know who's doing it in Atlanta, in the South, and across the nation, and have peer relationships that you can engage with one another on and accelerate the change. We're making that investment to provide that platform for you. So when we started 8 years ago, this is what we told everybody our mission was. Working at scale to significantly increase the number of Americans with quality career certificates or college degrees and close attainment gaps for underrepresented populations. A mouthful, but very, very important. But things have changed since then. We work with more than states. In fact, the old version said working with states instead of at scale. And we're thinking differently about our work. And so our new mission may become this. And this is something else you can give us feedback on, because this is where I think we should be headed. We want to empower a movement and advance strategies to ensure equity of opportunity for all people in America to complete post-secondary credentials of value and relevance. And we want to do that because of this. The work has evolved to the point where deeper engagement is necessary. Now, that still says Complete College America, but I hope you can see yourself in it, because that is our intention. We need a movement around this work now. We have to take it deeper. When Stan and I started out 8 years ago, we talked to audiences like this, and you'd all sit back and cross your arms and go, "Who is this guy? This too shall pass." But now the experience is this. Tell me what works. We care about this. We want to do it. How can we get involved in it? I want people from all walks of life, from all levels of influence, to feel like they have a place in this movement. That's why we changed the Alliance teams. We've aligned your teams now with the Scaling Standards. You all know that. Because we are trying to engage more deeply and more broadly in your states, which is a good thing for you. We're going to hear examples about how states have organized at the campus level around college completion like they have in Georgia, and it's worked beautifully to keep people focused. We have to do that all around the country. So I can't promise you that the work gets easier from here. I hope it gets smarter. I hope it gets more effective. I'm sure it will with your help. But I do want you to know that after tomorrow, when you leave and you've helped us improve that workbook and this work product, we'll have a clear path forward. at an urgent time in our country, because I continue to believe that the best hope for America is right in this room. And folks like you back home, that you know that you have to do a better job now of organizing. We have to do this work. Critical thinking is extraordinarily important for engaged American citizenship, a happy life, a fulfilling career. You are the providers of that, and more people have to get it. So I'm delighted that you traveled so far to be with us. This is important work. Roll up your sleeves, take off your ties, help us get better. Let's do this together. Let's make this a collaboration and a true beginning of a new movement for college completion. Thank you.